we're going to keep going with this interview. AJ, he's going to get into and start talking about what's going to go on during the civil trial, what they're planning on unveiling, because there's going to be new information from Karen Reed's side and evidence shown as well. Check this out.
Experts and things of that nature.
Wasn't there evidence that they didn't let you present in the second trial that maybe this time around you can? Isn't there stuff that you were prevented from sharing, like major stuff?
Yeah, and enormous. Well, how about the fact that the federal government was involved in the investigation of the investigators? How about that?
Right.
Yeah, that's the whopper, right? That's the big
Michael
one.
Proctor.
But there were myriad examples of things that we were not allowed to present. Judge Cannoni was extremely restrictive of our defense in terms of what we were allowed to present, even through the experts that we did call.
Is she corrupt?
I'm not going to use, I'll leave it to others to judge and use words like that. I think I've done what I needed to do. I'll tell you this.
Compromised?
I feel very good about what I presented, what the arguments that I've made, the information that I sort of presented into the public forum, the conversation that we engaged in the public forum about Judge Cannoni and the Massachusetts justice system in general. I'll let others decide, is she corrupt, is she compromised? I don't need to use words like that.
Are we going to see a lot of the same people on the stand? In the second trial, we didn't see some of them. We didn't see, like Brian Higgins. We didn't see. Are we going to see Brian Higgins?
I think the entire
Jen McCabe,
cabal of bad people will be.
Oh my God! The band is getting back together. I mean, this is going to be a whole nother round.
I said this before. Nothing's off the table. No one's off the table. They're all set. Look, they wanted to bring a lawsuit. They brought the lawsuit. We didn't bring a lawsuit. We're defending a lawsuit.
Who are you most looking forward to questioning out of all the bad apples?
Yes.
All of them. Jen McCabe?
Oh, I would relish the idea of having another conversation with Miss McCabe. Yeah.
And Brian Higgins, who escaped the
Mr.
last
Higgins,
one.
yes, absolutely.
Mr. Michael Proctor, the leader,
I would imagine that
he'll be back.
I imagine he will not be able to duck this one.
You see, this is the shithole that they've got themselves in, and this is a real problem,
it's
right?
Gonna be ugly.
Mrs. O'Keefe is very upset, the O'Keefe family, and they think this is that they're going to get their answers here, and they want justice, and they want to get paid for this, and they.
Also, before Billy continues, I want to know what y'all think in the comments in the chat. As we found out yesterday, Karen Reed is about to sue everyone, as I mentioned, and I've got the list here. Let me actually go find it. So these are the list of people that were mentioned she's going to be countersuing or going after. Brian Higgins, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, Matt McKay, Jennifer McKay, Brian Tully, Yuri Buchanan, and Michael Proctor, and the Commonwealth possibly. You know the McCabe's, you know the Alberts, you know they were watching yesterday. They were watching the court proceedings. What do you think went through their mind when they heard that this was going to go down? What do you think went through their mind when they found out they could possibly be called as witnesses during this court proceeding? I'm sure they are sweating over there.
They're going hard, and these people are telling them, you're right, you're right, you're right, and now they have to go through it all again, and they know inside, oh, God, if our lives weren't over before.
You know, the problem with that, Billy, is I do have, you talked about whether or not I have sympathy or empathy for Kelly Deaver, or is it Dever?
It's Dever, but it's Deaver.
I don't have any sympathy for Miss Dever because she made her bed. She's going to lie in it. Like I said, she brought this on herself. But I do empathize with the O'Keefe family, writ large, all of them. I think that they have been sold a bill of goods. I think they were sold that bill of goods when they were the most vulnerable. They had just lost a surrogate father, a son, a brother.
Yep.
That's devastating, and I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But in that moment of vulnerability, in those times of vulnerability, they were sold a bill of goods for a reason, for a specific reason, to turn them against Karen and to turn their eyes away from the actual truth of what happened. And they have sort of absorbed that since then, and they've never wavered. And that's a shame. That's a shame. It's not shame on them, but it's a shame that they feel that way because they can't and won't quite see the truth. I feel empathy for them. But what I'm not going to do is sit back and watch them or anybody else take shots at Karen and try to take advantage of a civil courtroom and try to establish some sort of liability of her that doesn't exist. That's never going to happen on my watch, not as long as I'm alive and breathing.
We are live in studio here with Alan Jackson, defense attorney for Karen Reed, and the civil trial will get going with its first hearing on Monday. So Alan will be flying over the weekend back to Boston. Questions are rolling in, and yes, we are live. Miss Jessica says in our chat, "You're not live."
Why not?
Hi, Jessica.
Why do people
Hi, Jessica.
do that?
How are you?
We're live.
Now what, Jessica? As live can be.
Let me skip ahead and listen.
Nicola Moffat is asking a question. Will it be hard to get a jury? Like, who hasn't heard of Karen Reed, in that area?
It is, yeah. It's super challenging. It was very challenging the first time. It was 10 times more challenging the second time, but we'll do it again the third time if need be. Yeah, we'll get a jury. We'll get a fair jury. You bet.
I think so.
Your involvement required court approval because you live out of state.
Right.
Is there any thought that they might have dinged you for that? Like, just keep Jackson out of here?
No, there still is a Sixth Amendment right that Karen has to a lawyer. So she gets a lawyer of her choosing, and there was really no reason to believe that any judge, especially Judge O'Shea, seems to be a very, very reasonable judge, was going to keep me out of the case, or Miss Little. Liza Little's in the case, and one of my other partners, Caleb Mason, is also in the case.
Well, oh yeah, he's new.
We've expanded the team. He's not new to the firm. He's been around for a long time.
Why is he coming? What's his expertise?
He's a former civil litigator. He understands the contours of the civil litigation side of things, which I don't practice in. So he just adds a font of knowledge that is amazing, and somebody that I can lean on and rely on back here in California.
What is the thing that you do better than anyone else? Or what is your greatest strength? I mean, geofencing and cell phone data, or is it the way you prepare? Like what makes you so good?
I can't say that I do anything. I appreciate the compliment. I don't know that I do anything any better than anybody else. One thing that I never get accused of is being underprepared. I do prepare like a crazy person. If there's something that I need to learn, like geofence data, which most people don't know anything about, I will learn it from top to bottom, left to right, before I ever walk into a courtroom. If it's EDR data, if it's trigger events, if it's text stream data, things that don't roll off the tip of my tongue, I will learn as much as there is to be gleaned on that subject before I ever walk into a courtroom. The last thing I would have happen, look, I'm never going to know more than an expert does on any if it requires an expertise. I'm never going to know more than them, but I damn well will be conversant on that subject matter, and so I just study a lot.
You ever been caught on your ass in a moment where you didn't know something and you were like, and so that just said, okay, never being here again.
Yeah, as a young lawyer, that didn't have to happen more than once or twice,
right? And
I realized, I'm not going to be made a fool of again.
Joy Schmeha, that's what she calls herself. Her name is Chrissy, but she's one of our family here. She's asking, Alan, will things that were impounded be allowed in the civil trial? Will you be able to call Colin Albert? That's a really good question.
It's an outstanding question. Yeah,
Colin Albert is a very interesting character here who was kept away from the spotlight in the second trial entirely.
And it was also thought that maybe Colin Albert and John O'Keefe had some issues, right? That maybe they had some back and forth. Maybe there was a fight that happened in the garage. We don't know, but that was alleged as well. Could be brought up during the civil trial. Let's see what AJ says.
Interesting character here who was kept away from the spotlight in the second trial entirely.
Right. Think about it this way.
He's the son.
The writer's name is who? Who is it?
Joy. Her name is Chrissy. But
Chrissy.
Yeah.
That's a very salient question. Think about it this way. All of the evidentiary rulings that Judge Cannoni made, they're all out the window. We start with a clean slate. So yes, the answer is, would we be able to, do I believe we'd be able to, if we could establish the relevance and materiality of Colin Albert, which we clearly can, would he be on the docket, on the witness list to be called by either side? Yeah, he sure could. And so could Brian Albert and Nicole Albert and Julie Albert and Chris and Matt McCabe and Jen McCabe, the whole bevy of folks. There's nobody that's off limits.
I'm going to ask Alan a question, but I don't want the camera on me while I'm asking. I'm a body language expert, also freelance body language expert. I want it on Alan.
Shout out to the body language
just
experts.
Alan.
You do know I have a poker face, right?
While I ask the question, and this is seriously, like, when I think about what could have happened that night, I think about this kid Colin Albert because he's troubled. And he has gotten in a lot of big, serious trouble in that state before. And I think coming home, drunk, mom, dad, get their people over, whatever. Higgins is there. I think that the Higgins-Colin Albert combination is really something to look at when I think what could have happened. And that Colin Albert kid got loud. And I think Higgins, who of course had designs on Karen Reed and was texting with her a little bit, he got involved. And I think that's where the violence occurred. I do think the two characters are Higgins and Colin Albert, and mostly I would look at Colin Albert. Am I
think that's
totally wrong?
No, I can't say that you're totally wrong. I can't say that you're totally right either. I have my own ideas about what happened. But certainly anybody who watched the trials, anybody who watched or read the motion work that we presented, anybody would reasonably come to a conclusion damn close to what you just suggested. That is not far afield. I don't think you're unreasonable in thinking that.
It's about to get crazy, guys.
Will we ever know who landed the fatal blow? I have my thoughts about who that was. There was a blow that was struck on John.
A brutal blow.
A brutal blow. And he went back and he hit his head on alleged surface.
Who do y'all think it was? I see some of you are saying Higgins. I know a lot of people would say Collins. I mean, there's a lot.
Blow. I have my thoughts about who that was. There was a blow that was struck on John.
A brutal blow.
A brutal blow. And he went back and he hit his head on alleged surface. And ultimately that
something in the garage, probably something he fell back on. Huge gash.
You saw what we tried to do in the trial in terms of the garage, and we were thwarted in large part by Judge Cannoni in terms of trying to present that evidence. But there's a reason that we wanted the jurors to see inside that garage. There's a good reason for it. That wasn't just by, we weren't just doing it for shits and giggles. There was a reason.
What did you see in there?
There was clearly evidence of a structure that was absolutely 100% consistent, is 100% consistent.
And in case y'all didn't know, the garage is gone, by the way. All we have is pictures now. And there were pictures that were seen and leaked, but unfortunately they weren't able to be shown in the second trial. So maybe we'll see those in the civil trial. But who knows? Could be beyond the scope. I think if there's a wrongful death, it would only be fair for the defense to be able to present their theory. Not sure how it goes with civil cases. We'll have to see.
With the gash on the back of the head.
The gash on the back of his head.
And the structure was?
A ledge, a concrete ledge that you step down on, about a 4-inch ledge made out of concrete with rough edges. It's funny because the coroner said, the medical examiner said, it was a ridged surface with uneven edges, not a smooth edge, uneven edges, as reflected in the autopsy photos.
Sal in the super chat here says, looking back across the testimony and exhibits from both trials, which one piece of evidence do you consider the single most decisive in demonstrating that Karen Read did not strike John O'Keefe with her vehicle, and why?
I would say aperture. What do y'all think? Before AJ answers the question, to me personally, it was that BS video from Aperture. The Commonwealth's own witness, the company they paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to, with their BS reconstruction showing, oh yeah, this is how he was hit. This is what happened. Absolutely garbage. And it wasn't even evidence. It was the reconstruction that made me think, man, hey, can we move on? Can the Commonwealth rest, please? Because this entire case is BS. That was it for me. Garbage.
Probably Michael Proctor's lying in his affidavit after affidavit, when he said he got the car.
Of course, that's
he
what
was
a lawyer
absolutely
would answer.
Focused on making sure that he lied and deceived about when that car was taken. Why? Because he damn well knew that he had that car before that light was cracked. He needed time. He needed to have those moments. He needed that 90 minutes or so to have access to that taillight before the...
So the missing 40 minutes of tape from the Sallyport garage, where it's like the Epstein trial. It's like we're missing a minute of footage there, but you're missing 42 minutes of him back by the amazing thing in the first trial when you were like, excuse me, this video has been reversed. Right. They literally tampered with evidence in the worst way.
Right. So they all sort of fit together. These all dovetail, these pieces of evidence that you're talking about, the inverted video, the Sallyport video that's missing 42 minutes, the exact time when the SUV was pulled into the Sallyport, which would have shown exactly the condition of that taillight, all missing, all inverted, all reversed, lied about in affidavit after affidavit after affidavit. Why all of that worked together to establish that the taillight material was not at 34 Fairview until after Michael Proctor and his folks had the car in there, and its taillight in their possession. So when someone asks, what's the one piece of evidence that establishes she didn't hit him? Well, I could point to Dr. Wolf, because the car never hit John. I could point to Dr. Rentschler. John was never struck by a vehicle. That's not where his injuries came from. I could point to Proctor and the lies. The car was in the Commonwealth's possession before a single piece of taillight was found. I could point to Canton PD. Canton PD did not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 searches, 5 individuals looking for taillight material when they found John at 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. Not one single piece of taillight material found until 12 hours later. So all of these things dovetail together. It's it's a tapestry of evidence. It's not just one piece of evidence. But once you start looking at it, it's so obvious. Then you think to yourself, okay, well, why? Why would these folks? How could you say these folks are lying or just working together in this conspiracy? These people went to high school together.
Yeah.
Every one of these people lived in. They found an investigator.
together.
Billy, think about this. They found an investigator that's independent. After, I hate air quotes, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to channel the president a little bit. Independent. They found an independent investigator after Canton PD was conflicted off of the case because the bad guy's brother works at Canton PD. So they go find an independent investigator who lives a mile from where this happened.
Not that independent.
In Canton. And went to high school with some of the folks that populate Canton PD. And his wife knows people that his wife was supposed to have one of the Alberts babysit for his kid. I mean, this is all within hours and days of this event. It is not a stretch to realize that this entire tapestry of evidence was just completely fabricated.
And why?
To point at Karen.
Look, you look at the prosecutor in the first trial, Adam Lally, and then the second one, Hank Brennan. I mean, you have to think these are reasonably intelligent people. So what do they know what they're up against. They know the cards they're holding.
They're there to win.
They're there just to get a win for the state and for law. That's it. Doesn't matter if that girl spends 20 years in jail.
If they had any other view of this, they could not morally have prosecuted this case. If they had any other view other than I just want a scalp.
What would you have done if you were the prosecutor and they said, hey, Jackson, we need you to prosecute this case? Would you have looked at it and said, yeah, not doing it?
Absolutely.
Really?
I wouldn't have just said no. I wouldn't have just said, yeah, I'm not doing it. I would have said, this needs to be dismissed. And if you don't dismiss it, I'm going to dismiss it and I'll quit before I stay in an office that will prosecute this case. It was bullshit and they knew it from the beginning. Both Adam Lally, I don't give him a single pass. Do I think he woke up in the morning deciding he was going to frame Karen? No, I don't think Adam Lally is of that ilk. But he absolutely knew well enough to know that this was not provable beyond a reasonable doubt, beyond any and all reasonable doubt. Walk away. That is your job as a prosecutor.
And why do you think they had to bring in and they had to promote Hank Brennan and pay him nearly $500,000? Because he looked at this and he said, hey, listen, guys.
It appears that I made a mistake.
If we gonna do this, you're gonna have to pay me because this is some BS. I know we've been here before, but I saw what we went through the first trial. It's not gonna be much better. Remember the way that they ended, the way that the Commonwealth rested their case? It was tragic. They knew what they were doing.
Provable beyond a reasonable doubt, beyond any and all reasonable doubt. Walk away. That is your job as a prosecutor. You are not supposed to prosecute a case that you don't, in your heart of hearts, believe that you can prove to an independent jury of 12 folks beyond a reasonable doubt. There's no way he woke up in the morning or went to bed at night thinking that he could prove this case, nor could Brennan.
These are morally compromised people.
100%. 100%.
You will be walking back in for the civil trial, returning to the Coliseum. I mean, literally, it was such a scene there with that crowd. Those guys are behind you, and you have a guy named Mark Diller, who is the lawyer that's in front of you. I wondered, what's his deal? He's a personal injury guy. Is he better than Jacoby and Myers? Is he a Sweet James? Is he a Larry Parker? I don't know, but I went to his website. I found his video. Let's take a look at opposing counsel and see what we think. Steve, you got him?
My name is Mark Diller. I'm a plaintiff's personal injury trial lawyer.
Shout out to Mark.
I'm exposed to hardships of my clients, and I understand their struggles, and it gives me a level of appreciation for how valuable life is.
Beautiful vanity shot there.
My father is a first-generation American. His parents survived the Holocaust and came here at the end of the Second World War.
Okay, that's enough of him. That's your guy, Mark Diller, right there. Do you know anything about him?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, I know that he's a PI lawyer, which means he's after money. That's it. He doesn't care about justice. He doesn't care about who's right
and he's
going to
get paid. I mean, it's something.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I'm guessing he's going to get paid something, or that's what his hope is. But he's not going to get paid by Karen.
Nope.
No, he's not.
So
what is happening with the next steps beyond the legal? You have a state or federal case that you might bring on offense this time. Get off the heels and get and go after the people who actually did this. And then there's also, the movie. There's a book. There's these things. Has Karen started to write? How far along is the movie project that we all want to see?
I'm not going to speak for her. I will tell you that there are talks underway. Certainly, we're discussing those very things pretty regularly. So I can't imagine that there's not an appetite to hear from Karen in that forum, in that particular forum, both from a book standpoint as well as potentially a film standpoint. So I wouldn't I wouldn't say no, that's not going to happen. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty confident it will happen.
A movie or a series or either one?
Folks that are smarter than me and in that industry will make that decision. But
Well, they're not smarter, but they can tell you that.
people that know
more
the
creative,
industry,
maybe.
more creative, that know that side of the industry better than I do. They'll make that decision.
I'll
But
take him for that.
I do know that there is this is the top and the bottom of this discussion is really not self-aggrandizing for us, for our team, for Karen, for her parents. None of that. What we're focused on, what I think Karen is focused on, is shedding light, shining a bright light in
Jennifer
as big
Lawrence?
a forum as we possibly can on the corruption that led us here. And not just corruption on January 29th, 2022. Corruption that is generational in scope. Corruption that is centuries old. Corruption that dates back to post-colonial Massachusetts, a one-party state where there's no checks and balances whatsoever. People get voted into office over and over and over out of something that is just beyond me. It's habit. It's just how does a Michael Morrissey get voted into office over and over? And he's completely 100% incompetent and compromised. He is compromised.
The DA from Norfolk County.
Correct.
He won't be running again. His popularity is so low.
Who knows? I mean, we say that, but
time does go on.
He's got a war
way he
chest.
does.
He's been making money and saving money for decades.
No way.
How's the
on
DA
backs
in
of-
Plymouth County? This is your civil trials in Plymouth County, right? It's a different county.
Yeah, but
Morrissey's not involved.
Has nothing to do with the DA's office. Keep in mind, that's a civil case.
Oh, right. He's just okay.
Right. Yeah.
Can you call Morrissey?
Sure.
You can call him in the civil trial?
Absolutely.
Are you going to?
Who knows? We'll see.
Oh my God!
I've already said, Billy, I'm going to say it again. Nobody.
The crowds
is
will be
off the
wild
table.
for that. They want. People are not happy
Do
with that
it.
guy.
Yeah, no, they're not, and they shouldn't be. They should be disgusted with that guy. That guy he has one job to do: protect their interests, and all he does is feather his own nest.
Do it.
So, and that kind of crap happens over and over and over because there are no checks and balances in Massachusetts, and that's why a book needs to be written. That's why a film needs to be done, or a scripted series needs to be done to get as many eyeballs and readers to understand what really happened, what really has to happen for a community and a system at large to do what the Massachusetts justice system did to Karen Read. It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, and it was ugly. And we talked about it here, and we were shocked, honestly, by what happened, how this investigation was run, or the lack thereof. The evidence that was left out, the evidence that was included, how the evidence was handled. I mean, it was bad. The guys that didn't even go across the street and check the Ring camera could have seen the whole thing. They're like, it's not a big deal. Crazy.
And it doesn't happen by happenstance.
Wow. Alan Jackson is in studio with us. Alan, you can check your email for one quick second while we pay a bill here, because we're going to get into your future and what's ahead. And I got one more question about whether you.
All right, so we're going to leave this alone. AJ is going to go on to talk about his current trial. We're not going to get into that. Let me know what y'all think in the comments in the chat. This is an amazing interview, as I said. Shout out to Billy Bush for this. I'll leave a link to the full interview in the description for you guys so you can watch that and check it out.